The two-party system is a nightmare. Is it time to get independents some more power?
Love your energy about like that, like yeah, like how do we stay hopeful, right? How do we stay hopeful when it seems like it feels almost impossible to? How do you vote somebody in that would be able to like withstand the tide of it all?
Theo, this is where we've got to take a deep breath and accept our very serious responsibilities as citizens. Okay, and you think back, and I don't want to romanticize this, but you think back on American history. And, we read all about this when we were in the third grade, Those were pretty brave guys, George Washington and Jefferson and all those guys, taking on the British Empire. No one in the million years thought you could defeat the British Empire.
That's a good point.
For sure.
And they did. And a lot of thousands died. Thousands of them died. It was a pretty bloody situation.
That was baller as fuck by
the
America.
Civil War, where very brave people said, you know what, slavery is a moral abomination.
Actually, I don't like to show my tattoos much, but I have "Don't Tread on Me." I'm an Indian American, so I have "Satyam Vijayate" and then "Don't Tread on Me" tattooed on me because of the Gadsden flag. I mean, dude, that's a sick-ass fucking story if you think about it.
We're not going to accept it anymore. We have won great battles in the past.
I do think it's time to start another political party. Not another political party so much as, like, just getting rid of political parties altogether and letting people run and picking the best candidate based on what people want.
He kind of takes him seriously as like a future candidate for like elections or for presidential elections, or
now you are raising a sensitive issue.
Or is it a sensitive issue?
Sensitive issue.
Oh yeah, but yeah, is it? Do they look at him as like a one-off, like an outsider?
No. Look, what does it mean to be the establishment? The establishment means in a corrupt political system. Or if you're the establishment, what you do. You leave this, you get on the phone and you talk to your billionaire friends and say, look, I'm setting up a super PAC. I want your help to, win the congressional race in Arizona and California, Put in, I want you to put in $30 million each, okay? I'll have $300 million, 10 of you put $300 million. I get the ads going next week. We're in business, right?
That's crazy, yeah.
All right, that's the way the system works.
Yeah.
All right.
100% that's how it works. And they're even paying Fox News and shit to say certain things, or CNBC to like take certain stances. I'm sure of it, bro. Probably that's probably not as public, but yeah, the super PAC shit is just a scam, and then they make that money back. Look at Pfizer, dude. When they made, I think it was Q2 2020. Oh fuck, no, Q1. Whenever the vaccine was released that year versus the previous year's Q1, or maybe it might have been Q2s. If you do the overlay and look at those, it was like a 240% increase in revenue. So think about Pfizer getting the vaccine approved and getting like a vaccine enforced. How much money that made them. It's just fucking crazy to think about how corrupt that is. And it's like, was the vaccine ready? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But the money was there. The money was there to get these PACs and these they're bought and paid for politicians to start taking political action. And boom, they made a fuck ton of money. It was revenue year over year for that quarter. So I don't think it was profit, but it might have also been profit was probably a crazy increase too. Can't remember the exact numbers. Fact check me. You'll see it was fucking crazy. It's alarming.
Every now and then you have somebody like Mamdani who comes along and says, I don't want your money. Not only do I not want your money, we're going to take you bastards on. Okay? Do they want them? No. So the Democratic Party...
Mamdani's cool in that sense, and he's with Bernie and the socialism thing, and I respect that. I actually don't think that ideology is the best. But I can understand it, okay? It's coherent. People are passionate about it. I respect that. I used to think it was a great idea, but I don't like welfare. I don't like shared pools of assets for the whole country. I actually don't like that idea economically anymore because it makes me have to be on the hook for people's fuck-ups basically all the time. And then also I have to be on the hook for stuff I don't care about. Like child care, like certain things I'm just down to just pay for. And I don't want my labor to be funding everybody's everything through taxes. Like I would rather just keep my money and spend it freely.
Right.
As like you start to earn money and more money, you kind of start to feel that way about the money you earn. It's like, why would I want the government to spend my money? I want me to spend my money.
Now it's kind of split. I am an independent. Okay, to be honest with you, I'm the longest serving independent. I caucus with the Democrats, but I'm an independent. Proud of it.
Respect.
But
they get really independent too when it's time to put you on the ballot too. I noticed. So
right.
That's fair.
So I work with people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Pramila Jayapal and Ro Khanna and a bunch of other people. And we are trying to move the Democratic Party to be a party that stands with working class Americans and has the courage to take on powerful special interests. Now, there's another faction of the Democratic Party that, doesn't like Trump for, I think, a lot of right reasons. I agree with him. But basically cuddles up to the moneyed interests.
Yeah.
And
Establishment Democrats, for sure.
That's the vision that we have. Mamdani is part of the
one of us
movement that I've helped try to build.
Yeah. I would consider myself an independent conservative at this point in time. I also have a lot of right-wing ideas now on social issues. Like, I think that, there's a lot of sensitivity on the left that's just ridiculous, and this notion that everybody's the same, and there's no, I mean, I don't know. It just seems ridiculous to me, some of the stuff the left is espousing these days, and especially the cancel culture and toxicity of that whole thing. Like, instead of focusing on ideology, the left wants to, focus on whether somebody has had a flub in the past. It's ridiculous. And what words they've used in the past, decades and decades into the past, it's just ridiculous.
We did it. All right. That was a long time ago. And we started kind of unofficially, we called it independent party of sorts. So it can be done. And there are strong independents today running for office who have a chance to win.
No, they don't.
But
no, they don't.
You ask about starting a party in today's political climate. It is
he said himself he caucuses with the Democrats. Why do you do that?
Party in many states, you're going to have to get enormous numbers of signatures in every county in the state to even get on the ballot, because the two-party system does not want you on the ballot.
Of course.
Okay? And, you likely don't have a lot of money to do all that stuff. So it ain't easy, but there are people who are thinking about it. Right now, where my energy is to transform the Democratic Party. When many years ago, under Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Harry Truman, the Democratic Party was considered to be the party of the American working class. Unfortunately, that has changed over the years.
It's completely flipped almost.
Once again.
It feels like the Democrats are the elitists who are, like hotty-toddy, put whatever, and just don't represent the people at all.
To have a Democratic Party which has the guts to stand up to the billionaire class and create an economy that works for everybody and not just the very rich.
Do you feel like it's a time where we just need to be in the streets more than ever, where people need to be?
So how do Democrats? Okay, so here's the thing, right? This ideology, this ideological concept, this notion that welfare, right, and shared pools of assets create economic benefit for everybody and even out the wealth inequality over the long term. I actually disagree with that. Like, I think if you force people to get off of welfare and get a job and figure it out and go to college, go get an education, put themselves in a better situation, they'll build these good habits and then they'll pass that on to the next generation, their offspring, right, in these communities and in the communities that are impacted. Then those offspring are going to grow up with good habits, reach another, there'll be upward mobility, and then generations down the line, right, those people are going to be very, very wealthy. That's how it works. You don't just wake up one day on food stamps and become a billionaire the next, that's not how it works, okay? And it's never going to work like that. And what I think what you're doing by giving people all these welfare handouts and shit like that is forcing them to become dependent on you and continue to give you votes. It's like paying for welfare. I'm voting for you, I get my stipends, I get my food stamps, I get my, affirmative action. Like, we don't need that shit, bro. As a colored person, we don't need that shit. I think what we need is probably one fell swoop of reparations, fix up some shit, some infrastructure, and boom, we're in business. Just let us rock after that. You know what I'm saying? Don't give us no welfare. Like, stop. That stuff is not necessary or helpful. And strict on crime is better. So the Republicans are actually a lot better, I think, in terms of, and Brody's over here with me now, but in terms of helping and making these communities better. I just think that the constituents of the Republican Party are hella racist, and so are the politicians, right? Let's be real, they're very racist, and it's not that they're racist in a how do I put this? I don't mind racism when it's just like, off the cuff racist comments, jokes, maybe a little bit of like condescending behavior towards me or towards other colored people. I don't really mind that. It's the policies, though. The policies, when the policy is racist and what's being enacted is racist, that's the problem. And if you look at it, the most racist thing is saying that, okay, these people here need this because they are lesser, and these people here need more. That's what the Democratic Party does.
Revolting? Do you think it takes a revolution?
And I'm not a Republican. I think Republicans are hypocritical. I mean, again, and I don't think Trump is a terrible, terrible president or whatsoever. I actually think a lot of what he does is great. But J6 was terrible. I don't like our insistence on participating in the conflict in the Middle East, funding it. That's something that the Republicans and the Democrats are wrong on. Ideologically, though, I've grown to see a lot more in common with the Republican Party, although I would consider myself an independent myself. Because, again, reparations is another issue that nobody talks about. I can't align with a party that does not talk about reparations. It's an absolutely ridiculous oversight by modern-day politics. 40 acres and a mule in this country were promised to black Americans after slavery for good reason, and they were never delivered upon, which is ridiculous, right? I mean, it sounds insane to even say that. Once slavery ended, I think it just made sense that you set people up a little bit. You know what I mean? Not just create these terrible situations people are in now, and then continue to keep them dependent on the government for assistance.
Like, what's really going to change something? It doesn't seem like voting is going to get us there. Now, I do like the idea that you have
voting's not going to do shit for anybody, bro. What a fucking joke. The politically educated are significantly underrepresented. They're minorities, okay? The politically moronic are the majority. They're just going to flap their gums and do whatever the news channels tell them to do. And those news channels are paid for and bought off. Like I did a video on with Cenk, right? Cenk Uyghur, exactly what he said. News channels are funded by political parties to espouse certain opinions, and then we have the PACs buying politicians and the policy that's enacted. It's ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, independents are necessary, man. We need to get them more power and we need to get more voices out, okay? But hey, like, comment, subscribe. All right, peace and love.